We have discussed this concept of social marketing earlier as something called cause related marketing, right. We discussed that issue briefly. Today we will discuss it in a little bit more detail. Social media marketing and social marketing are sometimes used interchangeably, but they are actually kind of two different concepts in marketing. They are related. The social media marketing is very interesting, and it is becoming increasingly more powerful because in marketing communication, which is one of the P's in our marketing mix list, right. It relates to promotion, right. And of course, in marketing communication, when we say promotion, it usually means sales promotion. Sales promotion is like when you get, buy two and get the third one free, or buy one and get one free, or you get a spoon if you buy a packet of tea. Different kind of gifts and incentives are provided to stimulate the sales at certain times, or sometimes you have some special days like Wednesdays at Big Bazaar are called the cheapest day. The reason is, of course, it is because Wednesday is in the middle of the week, and normally they have seen that the footfall or customers visit peak during the weekend, and it is quite low during the middle of the week. So to solve that problem, they created this incentive. So people will come, a pull strategy. People will come because they know that on Wednesday they will get the best deals, right. So those are the examples of sales promotion. In our marketing mix, of course, when we say promotion as a P, we mean this whole integrated marketing communication, which consists of personal selling, right, which is very important when it is B2B marketing, or when it is a complex product, or as in the those classification when it is a what kind of goods will demand personal selling? Specialty goods, right. Even shopping goods might, because it will not be like convenience goods where it will be more influenced by advertising to the extent it can be. So advertising, personal selling, sales promotion, public relations, direct marketing. Direct marketing means you get in a mail a catalog, or you get a communication from somebody that there is such and such product available in such and such shop. So internet initially was considered as just another channel, and therefore it was part of this. But today actually we understand that the internet is changing the entire world of marketing communication, and that is because of the high power of this integration of interactivity with individualization, right. That the personal selling is only used for specialty goods. Why?
They involve a high degree of involvement.
So it is as we have discussed, it is a it demands higher involvement. It is usually a purchase of higher value. It is a product where knowledge is important for the transaction, right. You are seeking as a customer more and more information. So if you are wanting to buy a washing machine, you will actually provide more information to the seller, because you will say if you want a top loading or front loading, you want a 10 liters or 2 liters, you want a very big one, or you want a small one, all these information you will provide, and in exchange the marketer will have to provide you all the various options that are maybe available, additional features that may be there in a 3-4 models. So a washing machine marketer like a Samsung or Whirlpool or Godrej, they will have number of models, right, to suit number of requirements. So the transaction of information, and in some way even it may be transaction of knowledge, that means you may seek some advice. So when you add information along with some insight or some advice, then it becomes a knowledge based transaction, and those are demanded in case of B2B, in case of specialty goods. But as you can really understand, it involves human beings, it involves going to a place for you as a customer. You will have to be in a mall or some store, which also entails some overheads in maintaining that place. So personal selling is obviously the most expensive of all these types of. So it is the most effective, but it is also the most expensive. Whereas if you see the per exposure cost, right? So if there is a TV ad, then it is at one time you are reaching out to millions of people. So even though that particular 30 seconds TV spot may cost you 1 crore of rupees, but if you are reaching out to 5 million people, then per person your cost comes down significantly. But on the other hand, we know that out of those 5 million people who may be watching that ad in between two parts of a ongoing cricket game, then most probably many of them will walk out of the room, right? So because it will be considered as a distraction, and so the effectiveness obviously is much lower. It perhaps is the lowest in case of advertising, though per person the cost may be the lowest. So this had been therefore a traditional trade-off in the field of marketing communication. But because of the power of internet and because it allows us interactivity allows us to know more about the customer. See, usually what happens is marketing, we have always had this situation of what we call information asymmetry, because a customer has much more opportunity to know about a product. So because the customer might be able to do some investigation, even in case of B2B, they always obviously will do lot of technical inquiry and investigation before even they frame their purchase requirement, of what we call a specification or a tender document. But even in a B2C, when a consumer is buying a refrigerator or a washing machine or a microwave oven, the customer would have already gathered lot of information. The customer also has lot of information about say Whirlpool or Samsung or Godrej. On the other hand, the company or the marketer has very little information about you, right? That is why they only have some, from market research, they have some general idea based on demographic, based on say the UP versus Punjab, or Bombay versus Calcutta, or young versus old, or rich people versus poor. They can have some generalized idea, but they don't know you as an individual. That is why marketers are often surprised. For example, people generally among all the metros consider Calcutta as one of the kind of a poorer metro compared to Bombay or Delhi or even Madras or Bangalore. But today there is an interesting publication, or I think it was in yesterday's business papers, that per square feet income for organized retail, that means these big stores like Spencer's or like Big Bazaar and so on, is highest in Calcutta. You understand? So we get surprised of this problem, generalized availability of information about individual customers. Now internet actually can change all of that. If you see now this matrix, in this we have this 2 by 2 matrix. Here we have online versus offline, right? I can take this out, and so we have online on this segment and offline on this segment, and here we have mass versus individual, right? So example of mass communication offline will be hoardings, newspaper ads, right? These magazine ads can be slightly better than newspaper ads, because the magazines can be, so if you are actually trying to advertise a new moisturizing cream, and if you actually advertise it in a women's magazine, right, so then you are better targeted there. So that's why it is slightly moved on this side. But these are examples of offline mass marketing. On the other hand, individual mass marketing examples will be on offline, individual marketing, but offline will be direct mail. That's something that is sent out to thousands of people. So they are just these catalogs or brochures. Many of those actually, as you receive in most offices, they are immediately thrown in the waste paper basket. So as you can see, just as this ad, general ad, it can be quite ineffective. But what is most interesting and is the subject matter of today's discussion are these two quadrants, right? So these two quadrants are mass marketing online. So what are the examples? Examples are these banner ads or pop-ups which you see as soon, suppose you are on the website of Times of India, or you are on the website of Indian Railways. In fact, Indian Railways have large number of pop-up ads, because actually they are, the entire expense of that website is subsidized, and so that your they don't charge you much for that convenience of booking tickets online, and so that's why they have lots of banner ads and pop-up ads. And pop-up ads are actually as ineffective as this advertising on television, because people will just click out of it, right? You will just close it. It's like walking out when the TV ad is being telecast. So just like in offline mode, the mass marketing or mass communication is not as effective as individualized, right? But the appearance of the search engines changed these a lot, and they actually created the opportunity of persuading people to go from this segment to this segment, because as you know, this is the power of Google's AdSense and so on. That means as you are searching for a particular information, they can actually use technology to understand that if you are looking for information, say on Aristotle's influence on marketing, then they understand that it has something to do with philosophy, and the system therefore automatically gives you those ads or links you to those websites which relates to books and publications on Aristotle, or a publisher who actually specializes on philosophy, or it can even actually, depending on what you are reading subsequently, because it may initially give you 20 results, and if you click on one particular result, they may even take you and promote a website which gives you tourism information on Greece, because Aristotle came from Greece. So as you can see, it actually uses a very powerful technology of way human beings search for information and knowledge. That means it actually goes in a what we call a map technique or graphical correlation technique. So they use all those and technologies. So what happens is, therefore, somebody who has just come to the site as a casual searcher, so at that time you have actually just provided information in a mass communication format online, but now you are able to move that person to a very targeted response, and you are even able to actually send email to that person in response to some query. Sometimes there are search facilities which are even paid facilities, like for example our digital library at IIT Kanpur. You have the ability to search for very specific academic material through thousands of journals. Now that, of course, that search facility is paid facility, because IITs have together paid millions of rupees for that particular access. But even in that paid facility, therefore, you can see that because you are having targeted in that, of course, we do not see any ads or anything that come up, but in Google Scholar provides you therefore a free facility which is almost as powerful, because it is actually moving you from here to here, and because that is why advertisers are very interested for that particular specific profile that you are presenting, right. The moment you are searching for certain information, it creates a specific profile and they are able to create a response to you. Now what is today our interest is in actually one part of it, which is this, that as you get this specific package of information through this online targeted media, what does it do, the power it actually presents to us in cause related marketing, right. So what is cause related marketing? Can you give me some examples, or example of social marketing? No, Colaveri was actually a example of how a particular product it can actually get widely spread out because of this viral marketing phenomenon. But social marketing means something different.
Like save the tiger.
Exactly, very good.
Save the tiger.
Or as we discussed, Tata Tea, right. Now social marketing therefore fundamentally means that you are trying to promote a cause, promote an idea. It can be related to promoting a product like Tata Tea example, but because you are raising the product promotion to a higher plane, it can become more effective, more interesting. You understand that? But a much tougher part of social marketing is what we call cause related marketing, like a cause like anti-corruption, a social movement against corruption. Or an easier to understand example will be, say, anti-smoking campaign, right. So you want to persuade people not to smoke or not to have fast food which is loaded with high cholesterol, even though it is tastier, but it is not good for health, right. So you want to persuade people to go more for natural food, or what we call slow food, as opposed to fast food. Now if you want to promote that, that is what we call cause related marketing, and that is the kind of social marketing that we want to discuss today. So as you can see here, it means that usually it is consumer oriented. It uses commercial marketing technologies. Only thing, it does not use that much of TV ads, like as you have seen in case of some of the movements in the recent past. So it will not be using a TV ad, but it will take full advantage of the media. So that is what we know it from, that is called public relations in commercial marketing terms, right. So you can use the power of advertorial. Advertorials are different from advertisements. What is the meaning of advertorial? It is a combination of advertisement and editorial. So editorial is actually supposed to be an independent comment. But if an independent comment or a report can actually act as your advertisement, then it becomes an advertorial, which is a form of public relations. Like this is, for example, you call the press and you hold a press conference and you tell them about the IIT Kanpur students and their pledge against corruption, and that in the next Antaragni the funds that will be raised, or there will be a special program which will be dedicated to student awareness against social corruption, right. Now if you hold a press conference on this subject, then the press will widely report this, and this then will become a form of marketing, what we call cause related marketing. So it is usually meant for something like a voluntary behavior change, which will be the case of, say, anti-smoking, or say slow food against fast food, right. It will be targeting specific audiences, and focus is always on some kind of personal welfare as well as welfare for the society, like we discussed this against corruption, for example. So the potential applications can be various types. Just as in case of a cigarette commercial marketing, it will be trying to increase the utilization rate of cigarette so that people smoke more. That is what the tobacco companies did in the past. They are now legally not allowed to do that. But today if you want people to give up smoking and adopt some kind of other healthier habit, right, or if you want people to give up fast food and adopt more and more organic food. So you are trying to therefore increase utilization rate, which is something that is beneficial. Improve customer satisfaction, job satisfaction, enhance compliance and all that, which are normal. So this is just to say that these are normal techniques of marketing that will be used. Now just as in case of normal B2C marketing, the approaches can be all of these. Top down planning, what does that mean?
The government sets some regulations.
No, let's take first the example of in normal marketing, in B2C marketing, what we say top down means what? This is actually in marketing we often criticize that as a sales mentality. That means the top management says this next quarter we must sell more of our sedan models, say in a car company, right. That is because the top management might have analyzed that we need more margin, and they know that the smaller cars give smaller margin, the bigger more luxury cars. So they may tell the marketing people, push our luxury models for the next 6 months. So this is what we call top down, right. The corresponding example in social marketing will be what you said just now, that it can be a government act. It can be an, like for example in New Delhi, it was the first where the Supreme Court banned the use of diesel for public transport and mandated that all public transport must use compressed natural gas, right? And to reduce pollution. Now this is something which is mandated top down, but obviously any change, and this is a very important point that we discussed right in the beginning of what marketing does. Marketing is always trying to change the status quo, right? Because when you are persuading somebody to buy something, it is in a way causing a change. But here, that is a much bigger change, asking everybody to change their engines from diesel engine to CNG engine. It's a big change. It needs, people will object that, I have so many petrol pumps and diesel pumps around Delhi and we have only 4 now, as you must have seen in those early days, 5 years back or 10 years back when CNG was first introduced. People found a lot of difficulties, as it happens in any change, and all that needs marketing, though it has been originally mandated due to a government fiat. But at that stage it needs marketing, and that is another good example of cause related marketing, where newspapers and experts came on television and said that yes, this is a very good decision. Some experts debated against it, but that is all form of what we call social marketing, and there actually this advertorials or this public relations format was being used. Okay, and as usually if we continue to discussion on the CNG example, this expert opinion, educating the consumers that please be patient, please bear the current difficulties for the long range benefit. That means, if you remember that earlier other discussion that we talked about, that focusing on customers' long term interest rather than the short term pleasure satisfaction that we discussed in another metrics earlier, salutary products versus desired products, or rather pleasure products versus desired products. So it needs similarly expert opinion, expert involvement, customer education, and these are the two tougher ones. In all cases where we are trying to balance between see, if it is a benefit for the company and long term benefit for the customer, then that quadrant is obviously easy. But something that is actually not immediately beneficial to the company or society, but it is in the beneficial for the customer. So long term benefit for the customer, but not immediately beneficial for the company, that segment is very tough, and that needs marketing, expertise of persuasion and behavioral modification. You understand that? And this behavioral modification is a very interesting area of marketing that will be interesting to all of you, is and we will discuss that in a subsequent session, because it has now become, have you read any book by Dan Ariely? This whole area of behavioral economics, this predictably irrational, right? So that is actually now a complete new area of marketing, because marketing driven by conventional economics has always relied a lot on what we call homo economicus concept. What is homo economicus concept? The rational behavior that we believe that people, when they have all the information, then they will act rationally. So when people know that smoking is injurious to health, it causes cancer, then they will not smoke. But we know that that is not how the market behaves. Earlier we ignored these as kind of aberrations, but today we understand that that can be the foundation of new marketing strategy, and that is best understood when we are discussing about this social marketing. So social marketing, therefore, we have to understand the consumer's perceptions. So, we have discussed earlier those consumer behavior with respect to the cognitive factors, the affective factors, and the cognitive factors. Now, here we are also looking at that besides this normal easy to understand things about benefits, right, and there will be some barriers because it is you are trying to cause a change. So, then we have to come to this social norms. So, let us if looking at these 2 points, self efficacy and social norms, and apply this to say an anti smoking campaign or an anti gutka campaign, right. So, how would you actually design your marketing strategy? So, today for example, you want to create a campaign that IIT campus should become gutka free, right. So, it is a good cause because we know that this region has the highest incidence of oral cancer. The Kanpur, Lucknow, the eastern UP has the highest incidence of oral cancer, and it has now been well established that the oral cancer, this high incidence, has correlation with chewing tobacco, and particularly this new form of chewing tobacco which we call gutka, which is actually some chemicals with a natural substance like tobacco. So, it is even far worse than chewing natural tobacco, which earlier people used to do in things like khaini and others. But now the gutka is extremely harmful, but it is also extremely addictive. And why is it also so all prevalent? It's also very, very inexpensive because it has not been taxed as much as the cigarettes, and gutka can be produced by even a small scale producer, because on the other hand, to make cigarettes you need high investment in automatic machines and so on, right, to produce those exact. I mean, you can make bidis in like a cottage industry, but to make cigarettes you need all kinds of machines and processes. So, if you want to design a campaign against gutka, which is therefore highly dangerous but yet highly addictive, it is actually marketing wise therefore a powerful force if you look at it from the gutka manufacturer's point of view, because it is a low price, high volume, highly popular, highly addictive. So, it has actually a form of customer loyalty which is created through perverse means. You understand here? While we are actually spending so much energy in marketing to create the customer loyalty or customer advocacy, here that is created through perverse means, through the process of chemical addiction and so on, right. So, you can see here that, and it has got very powerful promotion because gutka is not allowed to be promoted, but it is promoted through word of mouth or promoted through example. In fact, a big consumer for this harmful good, particularly very low priced and therefore highly adulterated gutkas, are the children, and they are persuaded by example, like they see adults having it, so they also start trying it. So, if you want to design a campaign against gutka, say even for our IIT campus, so what will be the, so it is a good social marketing exercise, social marketing challenge, good example of cause related marketing. And you can see that just as you, in case of commercial marketing, we are fighting against competition. And what are we fighting here? Against addiction, right. So, you are trying to alter behavior, right, the behavior modification using the power of persuasion. So how will you do it?
Educate the consumer first about the ill effects, but since that is very common, maybe educate the consumer about how the companies are profiting from your
Your disease.
Yeah, your disease. Yeah.
Right?
Or put an emotional side to it about their families if they're gone. The
Very
families
good.
need them.
Very good.
Because the warning is there on each packet anyway.
Right.
Show images of people with oral cancer, people who have chewed tobacco.
So when you show these pictures, you promote, you may be able to get good through press conference. Suppose we want to make IIT Kanpur a gutka free campus. We hold a press conference, we will get good press coverage. We can arrange exhibitions at various points on the campus which will show this, the hideous ill effects of oral cancer. But this is in terms of consumer behavior. Where are we appealing? Those three types of, no, we are actually providing information. When we provide information and facts, we are actually trying to appeal to the cognitive side, because we are trying to get a rational reaction that gutka causes cancer, so don't take gutka. But we know that whenever we are looking at behavioral modification and a persuasive communication must rise above the cognitive and appeal to our the emotional side. It must create. So this appeal to family. Now why in case of cigarette this kind of campaign, that or in case of alcohol, that the ill effect, you must have seen many ads on about alcohol, right, that how it affects the family. That has actually been quite helpful because it has created, but in case of gutka this has not helped. And why? In case of alcohol, in case of cigarette, who are the bulk buyers? The bulk buyers are people who have some higher level of disposable income. So it is more likely that these are adults, right? Of course, the young adults are also people like you are earlier have been big consumers. But these are people who are more open to ideas that it will be harmful for the family. But in case of gutka, the problem is that a high percentage of the consumers are no, even uneducated workers may be quite concerned about family. But a high percentage are children. To them, that it is going to affect your family, that message may not be going through very well. You understand? So we need, this is a very, there is no pat answer to this, because when we have done, initially when we created these campaigns against cigarette smoking, we created some kind of alternative possibilities, like those nicotine patches or tablets or nicotine chewing gum, and this kind of alternatives were created, and you could actually demonstrate the alternate benefits. You follow? But what can we do in case of this particular gutka, anti-gutka campaign?
Maybe we can provide the organic
tobacco again?
Actually, the reason why this has just been, I think it has yesterday or day before yesterday, a decision has been taken that throughout NCR, that is the National Capital Region, this anti-Gutka campaign will be shaped, and this is a specific campaign. It's a extremely tough challenge in terms of marketing, as you can see, to make the whole of National Capital Region. That means we are looking at how many people live in National Capital Region?
20 crores.
More than 10 crores.
20 crores.
No. It may be close to, let's say, several crores. We don't even know, but it is definitely more than 10 crores. Okay, it could be 12. We don't know. But and out of those people, if one looks at statistics, one may find that the percentage of people who use Gutka, that number may be extremely high. In Kanpur, for example, what is the population?
50 lakhs.
So among these 5 million, 5.5 million people, there may be 2 million people who use Gutka or some form of chewing tobacco. Now, as you can see, we do not know enough about what are the different types of people, at what price points they buy, which kind of Gutka is popular in which kind of place, and what is the exact reaction it causes in the human system, why people get addicted to it. So you need a lot of good data. You need to do a lot of research about your audience and their reason of this addiction to create an effective intervention. You see? So market research techniques need to be significantly improved, because what is the normal market research technique? We haven't discussed that as yet, but you know it already to some extent. No, suppose you do a survey, and as you can easily see that if you ask somebody about why they should have Gutka or not have Gutka, everybody will say it is not good. So the survey research will not tell you that how it's going to affect. You understand? You have to find some new ways to get the information so that you want to then promote the specific behavior that you are attempting. So you have to use the standard marketing techniques, but it is not just designing a product that consumers need and want. It is actually you want to move the customers from their current consumption habit to a different consumption habit. So social marketing, or marketing for a social cause, or societal marketing, by different names that we are called. One of the major ways of doing that, of course, we understand now, is to use the social media. Use the C2C marketing format. Because this normal form of advertising is not going to work. And you can't actually hire some people to go and meet these 2 million people who are using Gutka in Kanpur. Even on our campus, there will be tens of, if you take campus and the villages around, we may be trying to address 7,000-8,000 people. all the mess employees, the drivers, the staff, the faculty, right? And therefore, the how to market this cause that will result in a gutka-free IIT campus is a problem that you should think about, investigate. That is one part of your mid-semester question that is leaked now to you. Okay, so it is even better than an open book examination, because you have now 5 days of advance notice. So are you clear about that you have to create a campaign against the habit of chewing tobacco, a marketing supporting the very valid cause of making our campus gutka free. You know about the normal marketing communication techniques. You already know about all the basic concepts about marketing mix. We have already discussed today that in persuading people, these are the standard techniques that we will have to use. Only thing, that same marketing mix may have to be slightly transformed, has to be adapted to this particular cause. There has been many successful. It is not that you are going to face this challenge and nobody has been able to solve it. For example, even our society, where actually there is such a high percentage of illiteracy and so on, has done quite well in promoting the practice of safe sex, right? So against AIDS and use of condoms, right, we have created a cause related marketing campaign, and it will be good for you to look at the campaign for condom that was created by BBC Trust, which has been praised all over the world. I think some of you might have seen there's ads on the television also. They even created a ringtone which could be downloaded, and millions of people did download. You must have seen that ad, that parrot that talks about that there is no shame in talking about, and if you, so those are the things that you can investigate, and you can see how they use the concepts of C2C marketing. Thank you.